Please model the language I should use in this moment to begin the exploration of how I am processing tactile feedback. The ways that make sense to you for me to describe the degree my executive functionality was impacted by my prior exposure to noise, light, and social touch. To accurately model this language, please advise me to what degree you are interacting with fatigue, hunger, rest, and other directly relevant distractions you are coping with as my carer that have the potential to impact my current care experience. While this dialogue happens, I invite us to observe each other as we wash our hands, don our bouffant caps, and assemble the related instruments, consumables, and I find and wipe down my headphones, safety glasses, and stress objects. My observations and our dialogue lay the foundation for the dialogic exploration of tactile verbal communications throughout the rest of my appointment. I dream of a time when tactile verbal communications actively support my care throughout my entire dental appointment. Tactile verbal communications are an ongoing cycle of actively giving and reacting to each other's tactile feedback. Each cycle deepens my understanding of where I am in my oral healthcare provider's relational space, while I initiate the first cycle as I don my undergloves. It is my carer's ultimate reactive feedback that provides the first nonverbal reassurance that they are beginning to grasp how I am processing tactile and proprioceptive feedback in the moment.
Part of this exercise where Michael's getting a feel for how both of them touch and react to touch.
Yeah.
And that cycle of feedback with pushing and physically contacting each other.
Okay, here is left.
And then by both wearing like the full gowns and gloves, it also helps us out later for if I either want to put something on Michael or have him participate in handing back and forth, then he also has clean gloves. Might help neurotypical people understand. And I was thinking, like, if you were blind, or maybe not blind, but say like you were asked to go through an appointment with your eyes closed, the more time you were allowed to open your eyes to get visual information, the more oriented you would feel. So if you're only allowed to open your eyes for 1 second and close them 1 second, you'd feel really disoriented. But if you were given an opportunity to open your eyes for like 10 seconds, okay, then close them in 10 seconds. With Michael and touch, it's like the more opportunities we can give him to like make physical contact, orients him and gives him information. So for, you know, a neurotypical person or someone who primarily communicates with like visual stimulus or their words, we think as operators, like, we're giving you a ton of information. We're talking you through everything. Like,
would you be able to grab
if it doesn't
X-ray
land.
vest for us?
Yes.
And put it. When my carer helps me into my gown, and then I help them into theirs, I begin to get a sense of how they understand where I draw the line between delicate and firm touch. This exchange of social touch supports the mutual safe use of therapeutic touch. Touch that, through its firm, purposeful exchange, clarifies what I described about how I am currently processing tactile information. This information exchange begins with us helping each other don our gloves. Not only does the glove donning process provide a mutually safe and practical starting point for the exploration of how I'm currently processing tactile verbal communications. It also allows me to recruit our environment to be the steward of my mutually informed consent for my mutually participatory dialogic care. In the presence of fluid, the best practice of double gloving with two highly contrasting colored gloves will reveal a hole in the outer glove by way of an easily observable different colored patch developing when fluid gets into the hole. Allowing me to observe for such a hole when my senses become overwhelmed calms me. I am reassured when I do not observe a hole in the outer glove, even when my tactile perceptive processing tells me there is a hole or a tear in the glove. The environment further manages my mutual sensory informed consent for my care by eliminating the wrinkles that can develop in the glove's fingertips as my carer's hands move during my appointment. Our environment withdraws its support for the mutual sensory informed consent when an observable breach in the sterile field occurs. Such a breach in the sterile field usually begins when the cuff of the glove works itself off the gown's sockneck cuff, leaving a small gap of exposed skin visible. To avoid having the environment withdraw consent for our care, please ensure the underglove totally covers the sockneck cuff of the gown by a minimum of 1 inch. Ideally, the overglove will cover the cuff of the underglove by 1 inch as well, thus reducing the chances of the glove cuffs rolling down, adding to the sensory overload that, when it gets bad enough for me, could see me leave the appointment. I continue to search for a glove combination that has a high color contrast, a smooth, almost glass-like outer surface of the outer glove, and involves at least one sterile glove to support the break in the chain of infection as part of the double gloving best practice. While these are important aspects of an acceptable glove from my point of view, my work with a number of carers at various dental clinics since 2016 has encouraged me to identify many possible glove combinations, as I have learned other ways of outsourcing aspects of both my tactile processing and executive function to our clinical environment. Well, I still need a glove that is considerably thicker than a typical exam glove used in oral health care. I recently discovered a glove that has, as 2 of its 3 layers, a layer of nitrile, then a layer of neoprene, as the 2 polymers that make up the glove. Using this glove as an underglove for a polyisoprene indicator underglove has finally gotten me to a glove finger wall thickness that supports the smoothness of the exterior finish of the outer glove. The resulting stiffness of and corresponding smoothness of this combination results in equal performance to my preferred glove combination, one of the 2 best combinations currently successfully used in my care at this moment. Finding this thinner glove means that the use of therapeutic landmarks and touch triangulation by my carer are more effective. I hope it also makes it easier to find a compromise double gloving approach. From the 5 different successful double gloving approaches I have identified to date, I look forward to learning from you which one doesn't cause your hands to feel numb by the end of my appointment, what similar gloves your clinic can gain access to for use during my care. In the event that you cannot locate the gloves which make up the combination I think will most successfully support my use of tactile verbal communications during our appointments, it is still my hope that a modification of the assisted glove donning approach will become the neutral foundation for the establishment of successful tactile verbal communications throughout my appointment. Unfortunately, to date, this assisted donning process I have adapted has resulted, in my experience, a touch that is too delicate for me to accurately localize it. To safely interpret my carer's touch, even when my carer supports it by describing their action, following up with establishing touch in 3 distinct points of contact. I look forward to learning from you how you would like to begin the practical, physical exploration of how I am processing touch, which we started exploring in our opening dialogue. What role in interpreting this will you delegate to your assistants, who will have a direct role in carrying out aspects of my care? So will also need to understand and mutually validate my current level of functionality.